This has been a very good visit. I had meetings with Their Majesties, the Agong, as well as Permaisuri Agong, and also Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. We reaffirmed that relationship is really excellent, and we need to look at ways on how to further enhance that cooperation and relationship. And we also recognize that both our countries are each other's big trading partners and also big investors in both countries, and that provides a good base. And we also recall the areas that we had grown into, the new areas when Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim was in Singapore last month, where he signed 3 agreements with the Singapore government, and that is on digital economy, green economy, and cyber security. Those are really currently very important areas, but those are really very important emerging growth areas as well. And on that note also, I met Singapore and Malaysian business leaders, and their mood is really infectious. Really talk about the importance for the private sector of both sides, that we enhance, strengthen collaboration and support for each other, because they see that as crucial for them to expand their business opportunities, whether in Singapore or in Malaysia. And they are very grateful that we have these opportunities open up to them. So overall, it has been a very successful visit, and I think we managed to achieve what we hoped to, and that is Malaysia is such an important country to us, our closest neighbor, and there's a very strong economic interdependence, and not to talk about the people-to-people ties. I mean, lots of Malaysians have got family in Singapore. We all have families in Malaysia. So that is, the people-to-people linkages is also very important. Whilst our relationship between Malaysia and Singapore has been really very good, but we feel that we could do a lot more. And we could do a lot more if we collaborate much more strongly, and also so that we can overcome the serious global challenges that we are faced with. That helps us to leverage on technology, helps us to go into new areas of growth. And then to do that, of course, we need to expand the area, the scope of our collaboration, cooperation. And we are not talking just about G2G, we're also talking about the private sector. So private sector could find growth areas in individual states in Malaysia, because they all have their different strengths. Where we put our hearts and our minds together, we can achieve something that is mutually beneficial for both sides. This is the Johor-Singapore rapid transit system link. I'm looking forward to taking that train ride. I'm not sure about you, but at least we can cut the jam. So at least we can cut the congestion at the causeway. Global environment is very challenging. Global tensions have increased, intensified, and we're all not immune. I think no country in the world is immune to this. But what we want to do is, we don't want to be dragged into whatever side. We just want to be on our side, and we want to be strengthening. That's the reason why we need to strengthen bilateral relations. That's the reason why we need to strengthen also relations within ASEAN, so that we can take a very principled position. Centrality of ASEAN, stability of ASEAN, so the ASEAN countries can collaborate with each other, they can be stronger economic partners. There's tremendous potential in ASEAN, in Southeast Asia as a whole. If you look at the last few years, despite COVID, almost all countries in the region grew. And some even grew faster than before COVID. There are 1 or 2 of them. Opportunities are tremendous. So despite what geopolitical tensions that will be rising across the world, we recognize that there is value for us to strengthen bilateral relations with each other, with Malaysia, with other countries within ASEAN. But as a whole, ASEAN must grow. Because if ASEAN is fragmented, if it is broken, that will not be the interest of people of ASEAN. There are almost 700 million people in ASEAN. It's a tremendous potential, it's a tremendous block. So I think that's really very important. We need to think about win-win. Right now, as you see, the world is going towards different directions, but we want to have a win-win strategy, win-win outcomes beneficial to our people, both Malaysia, Singapore, in ASEAN as well. I think that's what we are heading towards. People of my generation, we lived through the period, historical changes that affect us. We lived through a period, we then rebuilt our economies, both countries, and then we strengthened our economies. We learned the importance of economic interdependence, social interdependence. But those are our lived experiences. But our lived experiences may not be applicable to our young ones, whether young Singaporeans or young Malaysians. So we need to be able to provide them with opportunities, with platforms, where they can then acquire these experiences, feel these experiences. So that I think that is an investment in the future. And not just in the future of the two countries, but the future growth, well-being, social development of the two countries.